Hi there and welcome back to another episode of Life According to Paolo. I'm your 11-year-old host, Paolo Ben Salmi. I'm an author, public speaker, mentor and a coach. I'm also the youngest ambassador for a company called Water to Go. And this is actually a very special moment of my life. I've got a very special guest for you guys. His name is Bod Doyle. So I grew up literally watching this guy. He's an influential, he does literally everything. So everything you can think of, this guy does. He's an influential coach. He's all the words that comes out of his mouth is influential. So just really taking in this interview and really learn and listen to every word he said. And so Bod Doyle is featured in the new movie, How Thoughts Become Things. So congratulations, Bob.
Thanks very much. That was an unbelievable introduction. I have no idea how I'm going to live up to that. No pressure whatsoever. Okay. I'm ready. Thank you. I appreciate being here. It is a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you as well. And like a few years ago, I remember I was sitting at home and I was actually watching you in The Secret movie. So I've been watching you literally my whole life. And now, if you think about it, I think it was 7 when I started watching you. 7 and younger, because my mum believes that from the ages of 0 to 7, a child is like a sponge. So they take in everything that the parents gives them and teaches them and says to them. So so my mum made a decision that I want my child to have the best life, and she chose for me to actually watch you growing up. And I loved watching you when I was growing up. You're an influential person, and everything you do I live by. So thank you very much for letting me interview you.
Oh my God. Wow. Well, thank you very much for all of that as well. It's so cool to hear that movie is still having an impact on even younger kids, because when the movie came out, I'm trying to think, one of my kids was about your age and they couldn't have been less interested. You know, it's just like their dad is doing this thing, which was, before that, no one would have seen that coming, because I wasn't in the personal development industry. No one saw it coming. And so my kids are watching this unfold, just kind of going, what? But so it's very encouraging to hear that people of your age are watching it and being impacted by it. So that's awesome.
It's impacted my life and also the way I think about life. And ever since I came over changed to the personal development industry, like it's a different reality. You look at the world from a different perspective, and literally your eyes helped me to see a world in a different perspective, and your words helped me to see the world in a different perspective. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And you said something about that 0 to 6 and the kids being a sponge, in How Thoughts Become Things. I don't use that example, but it's a lot about the wiring, and that's what you're talking about, is that, is from 0 to 6, we're just taking in information, right? We don't know how to evaluate it and to assess whether or not, is this true? Is this false? Is this going to work for me? Right? We're just taking it in. So you were so freaking blessed to have a mother who was going to fill that sponge with good stuff. And it obviously has paid off. I mean, you exude a very special energy for a person of your age. And so that's just proof. But see, most of the people I deal with did not have that. And they were wired through the limiting thoughts of their parents and society and so on. And that's why there's so much need for coaches and personal development, all that, to help untangle that.
Thank you for coming onto my show and also sharing your amazing message and those amazing words. Literally every word you say is influential, even if it's fly or high. Any word you say is influential. So thank you. So so welcome to my show. This is my platform. And my first question is, I'd like you to introduce yourself and tell the audience what you're all about and what you teach. What you teach and what you do.
Sure. The real essence of what drives me and my work, even though people know it about the law of attraction, it's really about creative self-expression. It's really about helping you decide who you want to be in the world and then expressing that fully. And when you do that, the whole law of attraction thing just kind of works on its own. But the way that people are finding out about the law of attraction is sort of halfway through the game. But just to back up and answer your question, so who I am really is more of I love to create, so there's everything I've created with regards to the law of attraction and anything related in that world. But before I did any of that, I was going to be a broadcaster. I wanted to be on the radio, and I just wanted to be funny, and I just wanted to, entertain. That was the essence of what I wanted to do. And so, that permeates everything I do, and certainly now. But there was that period during The Secret where I was sort of, not real clear, because I got sort of defined as Bod Doyle from The Secret, and people had expectations of me. They didn't know me before that, so they just figured I was just like Jack and Bob and all these other guys who'd been in the industry forever. But I wasn't. It had been just a few years, and that other part of me, the more creative part, was just kind of getting buried, in all the law of attraction stuff and everything related to The Secret, which of course I'm grateful for. But, I wasn't sure how to manage both. But I got to the point where it was like I was feeling just not feeling great. I couldn't create a vision for myself, and I'm this law of attraction teacher, right? So because I just wasn't being congruent with who I really am, or who I certainly wanted to be. So especially when in the internet, when the technology changed and we could start to live stream and kind of do your own show, that kind of thing. Well, I was all over that, and really just starting to find avenues, mostly on Facebook because it felt safe, just a place to experiment and throw crazy stuff out. The stuff I really liked to do that was in no way with law of attraction related or anything. But this is just who I am. So it's kind of crazy stuff, it's silly and it's weird, and I like to play with technology and all of that stuff. But it's very important to me that my audience, whoever that is, know that that's who I am, because I want to work with people who know me and like me and trust me, not just because I was in a movie, but because they know I'm a fit for them, like that they're going to have fun with me, or they're going to enjoy the process, and then I'm going to enjoy the process.
I really, really agree with what you said about you want people to know your actual true self, not just being in a movie. Because sometimes what I hear from other people is like, oh, Beyonce's from this movie, and they might see all these famous actors in movies, but they perceive and believe that this person, let's say, they're authentic in what they're doing. And but I think that what's great what you're doing is that you're honest about it, because some people, they say, yeah, I love this industry even though I've been in this industry for a few years. So because some people, they're not true to themselves. And you literally just taught not only me a lesson, but also the people who are watching, to before you can trust other people and also tell the truth to other people, you have to tell the truth to yourself. So so thank you for sharing that. And also going back to what you said about you love creating, I live by that. I love creating. I believe that we're all creators, but it depends on what we create. What we create, that equals the lifestyle we're going to have. Because some people create negativity, some people create positivity. So it depends on what you create. That depends on how you affect your life.
Yes, you nailed it again, and that is we are here to create. That is what we're here to do. We as human beings were born with imagination. We were born with passion. We were born with intuition. This ability to really communicate with this energetic field, if we allow it. Right, if we know that we can, and the ability to take action. We have everything we need to create the experience of reality that we want, but it has been untaught out of us for years, and just thousands of years, about how we're limited and all of these things, so that now our very nature, when we talk about being creative beings, seems woo-woo and seems out there and seems like, whatever. But because we believe that it's woo-woo and out there as a whole, that's the experience that we get. We get as a population is, generally speaking, feeling very limited, and that's what we see out in the world, the result of that. But then there are individuals who take control of their own experience of reality and say, I'm not going to let that in. I don't need to. I can choose to go against how I've been programmed to respond to all of this, and choose new ways to literally wire my brain, so that I can interpret this input differently. and have new choices and, think creatively. And that's when things start to change. But as long as everybody's looking at what is and calling it bad or calling it whatever, and just looking at that evidence and staring at, wishing it would be different, their thought process, the energy that they're sending out there, however you want to look at it, whether it's woo-woo energy or just practical how they'll show up in the world, is impacted by those thoughts. So it ultimately comes down to us taking full responsibility for the quality of our thoughts. And at first, that's difficult because we're not wired to do that.
Yes, I agree with what you said about, I agree with everything you said, but what most resonated was when you said that we limit ourselves to thinking, we don't think outside of the box in our society right now. And also because of this pandemic, people are just at home and they're not really thinking outside of the box on how I can help other people, help them through this time. And I think right now it's to teach us to, instead of being selfish, we need to help other people, and first we need to help ourselves, and then we can go and help other people. And also we need to stop limiting ourselves to doing the things that we'd like to do, because some people in this world, they say, I'm not limiting myself, I'm unique. But the problem about being unique is sometimes you're not your authentic self. Sometimes people think that unique means wearing the biggest dress or wearing the biggest hat. It's different to everyone else, so that they can like you for who you are. But really, what you need to do is stop trying to be unique and try to be yourself. So tune into your inner self and think outside of the box, and also achieve your dreams. Because yes, at a time like now, we're literally programmed to not think outside of the box. So always think outside of the box and don't be unique. Just be yourself.
That's all great, and there is no freaking box.
Yes.
I mean, that's the thing. The whole box is an illusion. So yeah, just forget the box and just think. It's a lot of this is just education, Paolo. I mean, because people know limited amounts about this law of attraction conversation. Some think it's just a new age conversation or a woo-woo conversation. With some people, they say they're trying to put science into it. And for other people, it's extremely scientific. And for other people, it's just the way they've always been living their lives, And it's like, I have always said that I want to work with people who have willing, open minds. Like, I have personally no need to go change anybody's mind. If they don't want to believe any of this, if they don't want to take control, I'm not here. I'm not the one. There are other teachers who might want to wrestle it out of them. Not me. There's plenty of other people who are open to it, and I want to attract those people who enjoy the conversation. Maybe you're challenged by some of the concepts, because they can be, if we're just not wired to think this way, or to think of ourselves and all of that and the importance of ourselves. You said a lot there about, being selfish and yet thinking of others and all of these things. But that self thing, you have to know, who is this person helping others? What is the motivation? Am I doing it just because I feel like I should, or have I generated its true desire? Because all of these things affect your vibration, if you will, how you occur in the world, and they're going to impact what kind of life you attract. And so it's just, again, it just comes down to getting into the habit of noticing when you have a disempowering thought, and knowing that in the moment, hey, I have the choice right now, as difficult as it seems, to change this thought. I can think anything I want. I literally can think anything I want about this. I don't have to go with what everybody else does or how it should be because of whatever. It's my brain. Yeah. I can create whatever hormonal response I want to by thinking the thought how I want. And every time you choose that, you start to build new wiring, and you create a new version of who you're being. And this is a great time to do that. The pandemic and being at home is the perfect time to visualize what you want your life to be. It's not a waste of time to sit around and visualize your life. It is the most productive thing you can do right now, when you're not so distracted and not quite as fragmented maybe as you were before. Get a vision. Who do you want to be on the other side of this thing? Imagine what it's going to be like, what it's going to feel like being that on the other side. What does life look and feel like? It could be completely different what it is right now.
Yes. And thank you for that. It really taught me a lot. Thank you. And I'm sure it taught the listeners a lot as well as. So my next question is, What is your story behind the story?
Behind my own personal story was just, I was driven by just, I needed to find fulfillment in, it was my career, but really it was expression, because your career is so many hours of your day. Back at that time when I was working, for someone else, I just wanted to feel like I could be me out in the world. And I didn't want to cram it into a few hours in the evening, right? So my pursuit of everything that eventually led to the law of attraction was about me just craving to express myself and feeling safe and okay with it. And, that's what drives really everything I do. And the most inspiration I get as in my role as a coach or a teacher is when I see somebody click into that, like to start to commit to give up their old stories and to find something new and more empowering, and start to see that rewiring process. It's because it can be slow work at first as a coach to help people, because they are up against that wiring. It can be stubborn, and to hold them accountable and keep them going. So depending on which stories you're talking about, it's just that even though I didn't get in, I never in my life had a career goal of helping people. I just didn't. It just wasn't who I was. It wasn't how I was groomed. It wasn't contributing to society. I just didn't think about it. I just wanted to express myself, right? And then I started to, and I had to learn all of these lessons, right? And which led me to this amazing concept, which I just somehow got and was able to teach. It gave me incredible opportunity, which has all led me back to the importance of me being me, and now teaching others to do the same, and how that will all make everything work without books and books and books and books of techniques and whatnot.
Thank you for that. So my next question is, what age was you when you started on a journey of self-discovery?
This conversation, the whole creating your reality and taking control sort of your circumstances, that would have been in 1994, 25, mid-20s. There was a moment when I was talking to a friend of mine, and he had a cigarette lighter, and it was wrapped in this sticker that was holographic, right? It shone lights and prism stuff, and that was all new back then. And I was just fascinated with it. And I'm locking into how the colors are shooting everywhere, and I just got this sort of little download of that everything is energy. It's all connected. There's measurable energy in everything, and it was just like so much at once. And I literally spent like the next 10 years just kind of, taking it apart and trying to ask basically the right questions. So yeah, it was like my mid-20s, and that's a really key time too. I mean, I've certainly learned that, when you're in your late teens, you think you know everything, and then you're in your early 20s and you're sure you know everything, you know who you are and all that, and then you find out, nope, not at all. 25, I was a totally different person, and it was the right time to start asking those questions, I guess. Because you're kind of I was, just sort of all over the place trying to figure out exactly who I was, what I wanted to do.
I think that whoever's watching this, and also if you've already gone on a journey of self-discovery, keep on going on a journey of self-discovery. Every day is a journey of self-discovery, because you learn different things. And something that Dennis Waitley said in the movie was, never be satisfied. So so never be satisfied. Keep on going on journeys of self-discovery, and keep on changing your life every day, because there's never a day when you stop learning until your last breath. So keep on learning.
Don't disagree with any of that. That's great.
Yeah, and also I think that journeys of self-discovery, that I think, like what you said, it's a really key time if you go on a journey of self-discovery in like your mid-20s. So and also any younger ages, because then you get to grips to learn more about life. And also, so self-discovery is all about learning more about yourself. So always go on journeys of self-discovery.
Yeah, you're so fortunate. You are, and I know you know it, to have been brought up in that sort of nurtured in that way. Because it sounds like to me you've been on a journey of self-discovery since before you even had conscious control over it. It was like your mom was like, he's going to go on a conscious journey of self-discovery, and most kids are not that at all. They wouldn't even know the concept of it. But how great! I mean, it's so clear just listening to you where you're going. I mean, and it's going to be incredible. I mean, there's just no question. And that could happen for so many kids if they had been groomed in that way, if it had been cultivated. But that's not how it is. Most of them get put into a system like all the other kids. They're never taught this kind of stuff. They're never introduced to any of it. So it's not wired in there in those crucial times. You got wired. And what's going to happen, obviously, is these seeds that have been planted are going to be ridiculously fertile. But the opportunity is there for kids. So the fact that, it's just so encouraging to see kids of your age being awake.
Thank you.
And being conscious and doing all that. And so, yes, we absolutely need more of that. And we need more people in a position of teaching who can speak to them in their language. Because I'm really clear that there's a gap like crazy, even between like me and my oldest son, who's 20. Everything's so different. Communication styles, the way the brain works and everything. So a lot of the concepts and the way us old schoolers teach them, they're not going to get in. But gamify that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then the kids will get it. And so we just need to, it's just the evolving the message. So it's really great that there are people your age who are already in this and leading the way.
Thank you. And also for any kids who'd like to learn more about life, and also learn lots of different secrets about life, How Thoughts Become Things is the number one key tool. So just watch the movie and it teaches you so much about life. And I think that what you and all of the stars in the movie have done is really, really amazing, because you've all interpreted all of these key things that everyone needs in their life. And what I love was that in your different expertise, you all explained about it, and it made up the whole movie, How Thoughts Become Things. So thank you so much for it. If you wasn't part of the movie, it wouldn't be so great. So just thank you so much.
Thank you. It has been my pleasure being on with you. You have blown me away, and I cannot wait to hear this and share it. You're amazing.
Thank you. So my next question is, what are the 3 biggest lessons that you have learned you wish you knew when you were my age?
Well, the power of the creative power of our thoughts, right? That we are consciously creative. If I had known this and could have been shown this through example, obviously things would be much different. I wouldn't have been on autopilot all the time. I think knowing, or at least having the distinction that we can change our thoughts in a moment, that it's not just because we've always done something some way doesn't mean we have to do it. That's a huge thing. I mean, if I can teach any adult that, it's the most important thing, because we, as grown-ups, we're so strong wired that even though I can tell you all this and you get it, oh yeah, I see how it's automatic. When the moment happens and you're upset, you will justify going there every single time. Right. So unless you've got somebody helping you, or you're very, committed to changing that in the moment. So just being who you are without apology, being who you are authentically, because the thing is, we all get swept into being a version of ourselves because of society and peer pressure and whatever, and not knowing the importance of not doing that, how we compromise so much of ourselves. Relationships, everything, when we bend who we are to make others more comfortable. Mm-hmm. So and it cost me a lot in my life doing that, and so waking up to that. But what happens is if you start being something different than you've been, you can pretty much be assured that you're going to shake up some of your current relationships. Mm-hmm. They may or may not be into any of this new you, and so that keeps people from doing it. And certainly, if that was part of my journey through the whole secret thing, is, do I express? Because what if, from a business point of view, am I going to screw up my brand? What's going to happen? And then I realized, no, the joy from expressing who I am will define my tribe. Like, I don't need everybody. I want the ones who get me. It's going to be so much more fun that way.
Yeah.
Right. So that just the importance of being you from the very beginning. Because the longer you wait, the harder it feels.
I think those are 2 really, really cool lessons to learn to actually go on. And so always never apologize for being yourself. And I think that's a big, big problem nowadays because of peer pressure. And also, some of like those influencers out there with their models, whatever they are, whatever they do, some, like you said, sometimes they say, if I share this post, what are my viewers and listeners and watchers gonna say? If I post this post, how many followers am I going to have? Is it going to decrease or is it going to increase? So it's kind of a risk. So I don't want to take that option, and I don't want to take that option, and then you're not being your true self. And so I think that in order to become successful in any niche or industry, you have to be you. Because, like you said, it doesn't matter if you have only one person. Because if you think about that, if you teach that person life skills and also tools, they're going to share that with someone else and then someone else, and it'll be like a domino effect. And imagine how many people you were going to teach, and it doesn't matter if people don't like you, but because a lot of the time people worry about people liking them, and the people that do like them, they stop doing what they're doing because the other people that don't like them, so they go and change over to a different industry and do something else because those other people don't like what they're doing. But in this world, to be successful, there's always going to be haters and there's always going to be lovers. And it's the lovers who you have to try your best for, and also just be yourself. So if you're thinking about sharing a post and it may not be attractive to all those haters out there, but it will be attracted and it will resonate with those followers and those viewers, and also your soul tribe who actually like you and like what you're doing and like your personality, not because of how much followers you have, then you're going to be very successful, not only in business, but you're also going to be successful in life.
Yes, what you said, exclamation point, underline.
Well said, Bob. So my next question is, what do you need to forgive yourself for?
Well, I went through a whole bunch of forgiveness exercise type stuff because I was married for 25 years and then there was a divorce. And whenever there's a divorce and that kind of stuff, there's a lot of, people share guilt and blame and all of that stuff. And so there was a lot that I had to, and I carry it around for a while. I think that was but a lot of that came from many years of me not being true to myself. So that one of the things I had to forgive was so many years of not being true to myself, which made the whole process, even more painful. So not being true to myself is probably the thing I had to forgive myself for the most. Not speaking my truth at the right time. Not, you know what I mean? It's that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Because there was a huge cost in so many instances where I didn't.
And I think that when you're going on a journey of forgiving other people, you first need to forgive yourself, because I know it's hard to say I forgive you to someone that may have hurt you so much, but if you say I forgive you to yourself and then you go and say I forgive you to that person, it's going to be easy because you've already forgiven yourself from all those times that you've hurt yourself. And also, when I mean by hurt yourself, not physically but also mentally. Right. So if you're in a relationship or if you're in a certain group or a certain circumstance and you haven't taken yourself out of there, you need to forgive yourself for that yourself and then go on to forgive other people. Because like I normally say, if you want to get an apple from the market and you don't know what an apple tastes like, you don't know what it looks like, and so you've never seen an apple in your life, you don't even know the colour of an apple, and you go to the market and then you say, oh, this one's an apple. Don't you think that's a bit random? They're probably not pointing at an apple, they're probably pointing at another fruit. So when you're going to next time you go to the market, taste all the fruits and see which one resonates most. Don't pick out the one that may stand out the most or the one that may taste the best. Pick out the one that reflects yourself. So go and forgive yourself and then forgive other people. Learn how it feels to forgive.
Very nice. Yes, forgiveness is a tricky one. And it still always goes back to wiring. Like, why is it not? Why shouldn't I did this thing or whatever it is? But you're right. Until you can, and it's just like self-love too. before you can truly just really give the kind of love you want, you've got to have that love for yourself too, because otherwise it's just lacking. So, I mean, look, again, the word selfish has a negative connotation, but we are individuals here to have an amazing experience, and we have everything we need to have that experience. And there's a few things that we need to do to have it, like being clear on what those things are that we want. And if that seems selfish, and if the commitment to that seems selfish, well, that is somebody else's problem, because we are here to do that. And ideally, when we are living what we truly want to live, we're basically generating our maximum value, which means we're going to be impacting people in a positive way. Whatever the number is, just like you said, if I'm only impacting one person who impacts millions and I can still have the life I want, what do I care? Because I'm getting the benefit of, I get to be me, I love what I do, and I'm putting value out in the world, and I'm being reciprocated for it somehow. Who cares that a million people don't know who I am? However it works, it's that detachment from it having to be anything egoic, which is different than the whole selfish. Being clear on what you want and who you're going to be is selfish, right? But it's not this. It's nothing negative. You have to do it in order to serve the world the best.
I totally agree. I think that now in our society and also in our reality, we've been taught the word selfish wrong. So it literally says it in the word, like you said, selfish. So you care about yourself. So we've been taught the word wrong.
Yeah.
So my next question is, why should families watch how thoughts become things?
Well, everybody being on the same page is super helpful.
Yeah.
Right. And because how thoughts become things is way more based in like a science type of conversation than maybe The Secret seemed a little bit more woo-woo. I think it's easier to have just an everyday conversation, a real conversation where people aren't going, come on, or anything like that. So again, because our relationships have such an impact on our ability to even hold a positive thought sometimes, having people understanding as a family why that's important, why as a family we should have a vision for the family, and understand what everybody's vision is for each other, to the extent that we can, so that we can be in support of one another's vision, now knowing after watching the movie how powerful that is in making it come true, instead of everybody just kind of not sharing what they want and feeling like, well, this will never ever happen. How can we as a family come together, combine our energy and combine our vision to make this happen? And it would come from an understanding from some of the things they might learn in a film like that.
And what I think is that when you watch something as a group, there's always going to be mixed opinions. So someone may not like this certain part, someone may like this certain part. So I think watch it as a family, and also not debate, but have a conversation around which didn't resonate and why didn't it resonate, and also what did resonate. So the positive and the good and the negative. So whatever didn't resonate and whatever did resonate, talk about that with your family. And also, I think that if you watch the movie by yourself as well, you'll go on a journey of self-discovery, because there's so much things that movie can teach you. It's literally changed the way how I think, and not only how I think, how me and my family thinks. So it's a new perspective.
Well, yeah, that's awesome. It's definitely worth watching a few times. It's one of those, you'll let it wash over you the first time and you'll say, yeah, I get that. Yeah, I get that. And then if then you watch it again, you'll start to resonate with certain messages more, and then they'll get more ingrained. So yeah, it's like reading. It's like anything else. You're rewiring yourself about the process of rewiring.
So next, I'd like you to share a final message for our listeners, like a quote or something, just to inspire the listeners.
Well, I'm not a big quote person, and I'm sure you're going to talk to lots of people who love to quote other people. But what at the end of the conversation of like this, because I know how people listen to these things sometimes, and it's how society is wired. They listen to personal development, they feel good, and and then at the end of it, it's like right back to whatever.
Yeah.
And so, every time I speak on this subject, my hope is obviously that people are actually listening and have an open mind and want to implement this. That's sometimes true and it's sometimes not. And so at the end of this thing, if I get asked a question like this, and a person has sort of been half listening, I would invite them to go back and full listen, identify themselves in the conversation. Where are you in this conversation? How are you doing on this? And where do you want to change? Because everything we've said here, we've talked about, is all, there's nothing woo-woo about it. There's no big leaps of faith. It's just freaking science. Do you want to make a change? Here's a movie that can help you, and here's some stuff that we've talked about that can help you. What will you take action on today from what you've learned?
I think you've literally changed my perspective. And I believe I'm an action taker. So whenever someone helps me and tells me I need to change things around to help me change not only my life, but also help other people change their life, I'm going to change the question. Yes, because I really agree with that. Instead of sharing a quote, ask them what they learned through this. So you've as I said at the start, anything you say and every word you say is influential, and it changes your life in a heartbeat. So just thank you so much. You've changed my perspective. Thank you.
Well, it's my pleasure. If it puts a smile on your face and empowers you, and you do more of what you do, then I'm honored to be a part of that journey.
Thank you. So, how can people connect with you, and if you have, and if they'd like to buy your services, and also if you have a website and learn about the products and services you offer?
Okay, so I'll try and make this simple, because I've been doing this for so long. There's lots of stuff out there, but right now, we've been talking about thoughts and rewiring and all of that, and so I do have something. It's a webinar that people can watch and participate with that's about this subject specifically. So it's kind of my up-to-date, here, I've been doing this 20 years, here's what I've learned is important, and here's what to do to start the rewiring process. And so if they go to meetbobdoyle.com/rewire, they can sign up for that. Now, other than that, I'm super easy to find. If you go to Facebook and you type in Bob Doyle, boom, there's the Bob Doyle Show. I've got pages all over the place, law of attraction related stuff, just entertainment related stuff, voiceover related stuff. I mean, I'm super easy to find.
Yeah, so if you didn't hear that, I'll put a link in the description down below so you can go and check out Bob Doyle's website, and also check out his pages all across social media, just to get to know him a little bit more. So I really hope that this interview has helped you to learn a bit more about the How Thoughts Become Things movie. Remember to go and watch it. I'll put a link in the description down below. And also remember to take all the information that you've learned from this and interpret into your life, so that you can change the way you think about things and also the way you perceive the world. So thank you, Bob. It's been an honor to speak to you today. You've taught me a lot. You've literally coached me. You've coached me on this interview. So thank you very much.
It was my pleasure to meet and talk to you, and I'm sure our paths will cross again.
Yeah. So thank you very much. It was great speaking to you. Bye.
Likewise. Bye.